Teddy, watch what you bet tonight. Look, I'm excited. I'm not the hugest NBA fan, but when we start getting down closer to the finals, the Eastern Conference finals, and getting some of these divisional round matchups, they're a lot of fun. We're going to take a look at two games again tonight, similar to what we saw in game one, where my theory coming into yesterday, and again, not being a huge NBA bettor, I don't know how the Sixers prevail, but they did last night, and they look good doing it, and they made the changes. Now, we're taking a look at Milwaukee here. I know Brad Stevens is a fantastic coach, but we know the Milwaukee Bucks know they can't lose this game. And again, in an easy game one victory by the Celtics, Teddy, now we come back. Similar lines that we're looking at on SBRodds.com, -7.5 across the board. The total of 219, money line split plus 260, -320. Celtics 43 and 42 against the number on the season. The Bucks 51 and 33 against the number. Must-win situation at home. Good game here, Teddy.
Yeah, Milwaukee over the first half of the campaign, all the way through the All-Star break, off a loss. This team was money in the bank. This has been the Bucks' role. They weren't quite as good after the All-Star break, but then again, they were being asked to lay some fairly high point spreads. The technicals do point towards Milwaukee here. Teams off a game one loss, as favorites of -7.5 or higher since 2003. 23-1 straight up, 15-8-1 against the spread. So blindly betting teams like Milwaukee in this role has cashed it better than a 65% rate over the last 15 postseasons. You say, what happened in game one that isn't going to happen in game two? Well, if the Bucks are going to win and cover, a lot. Obviously, Giannis was swarmed. Jason Tatum, Al Horford, Aaron Baines, all over him. The quotes from Budenholzer, as great as he's been, he hasn't been perfect every night. He's hard on himself, so there'll probably be some point where I put my arms around him and tell him, you're going to be great. Giannis himself, whenever I got in the paint, I spun or tried to change direction. A second guy was right there. I just got to go watch tape. If they're going to play like this the whole series, I've got to be able to make the right pass and trust my teammates to knock down shots. Look, the Bucks shot under 35% from the floor. They had 11 shots blocked in the ballgame. Chris Middleton, an all-star, non-factor. Veteran presence, Eric Bledsoe, Brook Lopez, two guys who will probably need to have big series if Milwaukee's going to step up and win this. They were combined 2 of 10 from the floor in game number one. These are all things that can get better for the Bucks. However, it's a Celtics team that has now won all 5 playoff games. They have obviously a pretty good defensive game plan against the Bucks' best player. I like this quote from Gordon Hayward as well. Quote, I think we definitely played like a team tonight after game one. Talked about it all year. We have so many different guys that can step up and make plays and make shots. Seemed like guys tonight made timely buckets all over the place. We're trying to draw together and come together here and accomplish one goal. This is a good start to that. We've had a lot of issues and questions about the Celtics team chemistry. Right now, their chemistry probably as good in the locker room as it's been at any point this season.
Second game of the doubleheader we'll talk about is the game I'm really interested in tonight, Teddy. And look, we always joke. You tell me, look, I need to move out to Las Vegas. This game's going to tip off at 7:30. I'm going to make sure I stay up. Most people that watch sportsbookreview.com always see my refrigerator filled up, Teddy, with Monster energy drinks. I'm going to need a couple of those to get to this game tonight. But I'm excited. To ref or not to ref? In just a few moments on our Off the Mic segment, we're going to go over the reason why I put that tagline up there. But in the meantime, Warriors favored by 5.5, total of 220, moneyline split plus 195, -235. Live from Oracle Arena. When you saw game one, Teddy, which is what the Warriors have been doing all year long, money burners won the game 104-100, did not cover the line. If we take a look at the Warriors, Teddy, 38 and 50 against the number on the season, 17 and 27 against the number at home. If we take a look at the Rockets, 44 and 41 against the number. This is going to come down to Refgate. It's an interesting game to watch. I can't wait to see how it plays out, Teddy.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Excuse me. You talked about those Warriors struggles. 8-16 ATS their last 24. As home chalk, they have not been good in this role, and that hasn't changed. We saw that in game one of this series. We saw that when they lost twice to the LA Clippers at home in the first round. Worth noting, the Warriors off a win in the postseason. Well, they're 0-4 ATS following a single victory, and obviously they won game one of this series. Houston's just been to Oracle and won. They won here in the playoffs last year. They won here in the regular season this year. This is a roster that GM Daryl Morey basically designed to beat Golden State. They were able to bounce back from a game one loss to the Warriors last year to come back and win a game two. In fact, they won that game in blowout fashion. And what happened in the first game? I mean, the Rockets didn't shoot well. This is a team that had shot at least 33% from beyond the arc in every game against Utah. Utah's a pretty good perimeter defensive team. They were under 30% from three-point range in Sunday's loss. Obviously, when you talk about three-point shooting, there's enormous variance from one game to the next. But in theory, if the refs are looking at some of the fouls/not fouls from the Warriors invading the space of the Rockets as they're shooting those three-pointers, one would think that Houston will be a little bit more efficient tonight, whether it's three-point shooting, whether it's shooting better or getting to the free throw line more off of those free throw attempts. All that being said, there's a lot of buzz about Houston barking at the refs, and that's never a good sign for a team when you're talking about any off-court distraction. This video of Game 7 last year where the Rockets are, we've been cheated, we've been robbed. I don't want that mentality. I want a mentality of we're hungry and we have to beat you and the refs in order to win this game. Houston needs to have that mindset. They're going to get the straight-up victory, maybe even the cover at Oracle this evening. Worth noting pace-wise for this game, we're talking about two teams that have played with a lot of variance in terms of pace this postseason. Golden State, they've been slow at times. They've been really fast at times. Houston, mostly slow. Game 1 stayed under by a pretty big margin. The Rockets don't look like they want to run with the Warriors on any floor right now, even though that's what we think of with Houston. They did a pretty good job at transition defense in game number 1.
We'll add on in just a few moments to that reffing discrepancy and see which way that game's going to get called. We're going to flip it over to the Diamond real quick. Yankees, can they keep the streak alive on Tuesday, Teddy? Diamondbacks roughly a 131 favorite, total of 8.5. It's going to take place at Chase Field tonight. Yankees coming in hot, 17-11, but winners of 9 of 10. Diamondbacks at 16-13. It's going to be Sabathia and Greinke. The one thing we do know in this series, Teddy, regardless of who the Yankees put out there, they've been hitting versus right-handed pitching this year. A weighted on base average as a team, 342. But if we take a look at the Diamondbacks, Teddy, hitting left-handed pitchers as a team, 361. Might get a little bit of offense, but good matchup here nonetheless.
We sure might. And let's not forget, the roof at Chase Field is open tonight. The ball carries in Arizona when the roof is open far more than it does when the roof is closed. So if you're thinking about an overplay, that is certainly something that you should pay attention to. CC, pretty good so far this season. He's only lasted 5 innings each of his starts, but he hasn't given up a whole lot of run. The Yankees have won every time he's on the hill. He's going for 3,000 strikeouts tonight. Quote, it's cool, especially that short list of lefties. Only 2 other lefties, 2 or 3 other lefties with 3,000. Who is it? Randy Johnson, Steve Carlton are the only other 2. So he's excited. But this is CC's quote, that's something I can't think about now. I'm focusing on making sure I stay healthy enough to take the team win. I'm glad that I'll be able to get this out of the way kind of early. He only needs 3 strikeouts to get to 3,000. But certainly an issue for Arizona with Greinke on Sunday. The D-backs ended up playing what was essentially a bullpen game. So Merrill Kelly was supposed to go here. Well, they said, we better have Greinke go here because our bullpen is a little bit gassed. Greinke with 5 straight quality starts in his last 5 trips to the hill.